Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A with us, the British Fist.
Catching.
Q&A 235. We have plenty more questions to get through and answer for you guys. I am Mr. Parkin, as per usual. This guy sitting next to me is none other than, well, I don't really need to know. I don't really need to name him. You know, it's NJ.
What's up?
And we're going to get straight into these questions, but I will say if you want to ask us questions, please put them in the comment section below. That is the only way your questions will be answered on this Q&A. We start off with a question from Ebro S. What is the match every other match gets compared to for a 5-star rating? Is there a 5-star match for each stipulation? I think the earliest memory I can think of was when the 5-star match thing came along, was Savage versus Steamboat at WrestleMania 3. I mean, I think a lot of, I believe, NWA and WCW, that kind of stuff, that was mainly known for its wrestling. Like, you know, when you had Ric Flair versus Sting and back in the mid to late 80s. So they're kind of like the earliest matches I can remember where people started saying a 5-star rating and how you compare, you know, how you compare the matches now to, you know, to a 5-star rating system. That's the best comparison I can really think of there.
And the second part of the question, that like if we're saying is there 5-star match for each stipulation, like
No.
a cage, tag, there probably is, but from the top of the list, it'll be obviously the Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, we should say for the storyline and the match aspect, Triple H and Mankind, that aspect. So there's going to be hard to think of one for each match type. Tag, I could say the table out of chairs match, you know.
Yeah, I think I see your question in one of two ways. I don't know if you mean is there a 5-star match for every stipulation. But I mean, I think overall, a 5-star match is really done on entertainment value, storytelling, how well the characters portray their characters, and really bringing all that mesh all into one, including the drama. So that's how I see that. You know, as NJ said, a few 5-star matches for those kind of stipulations. Jimmy Edda Apparel. Would it be interesting to see Finn Balor versus Undertaker at a WrestleMania Dream match? No, it would not. No.
Straight away.
Wishful thinking, I'm afraid. I see where you're going with this. You got Finn Balor, the Demon, versus Undertaker. Similar characters in a way, even though the Demon really is an alter ego, to be honest. But would it be interesting to see? Not really, because who would see Finn Balor winning? And if you know Finn Balor's not going to win, what's the point in watching it?
This is mainly comes down to a few little things. If Taker Street was still alive, no. But you say dream match in the future, I still don't think Balor's going to be up there. Just because he's got the character, just because he's a likable top guy in NXT, doesn't mean he's going to be at the same level as Undertaker coming into the WWE.
I understand having like a dream WrestleMania match kind of thing, fancy booking, etc. But it's got to be a little bit more realistic. Finn Balor versus Undertaker. Just even if Finn Balor gets a massive push and somehow manages to break through the monotony of the WWE writing, he's not going to get again. He's not going to go against Undertaker.
No.
RFV089. What does WWE see in Eva Marie? Well, what I think WWE see in Eva Marie is a woman they can market. A lot of people think she is very good looking, and you know, I would fall myself into that category. I think a lot of people are dead set against her because she's not very good in the ring and all this stuff like that. But to be honest with you, I think WWE doesn't really see Eva Marie as like a great in-ring competitor. They see her more as someone they can market. I think that's what they see in Eva Marie, especially with the whole Total Divas thing coming along.
The real upsetting thing when it comes to Eva Marie is that when she had her time within the WWE main roster, she really weren't ready. So the fact that they're still trying to push on NXT, I think building her up, getting people to give her a second chance and likable. She may not be the greatest wrestler, but she is getting trained. So I think it's because of how young she is, the way she looks, not really about her wrestling yet.
I mean, I think she could be a good heel for WWE. I mean, a lot of smarter fans don't like her because she's no good in the ring. And recently, I didn't see it, but I recently heard that on NXT they did an angle where Eva Marie got herself a bodyguard and Michael Cole was the acting general manager, and the Authority basically stacked the deck in her favor against Bayley for the NXT Women's Championship. And a lot of people were saying that that match was actually done pretty well. Bayley won, of course, which is what I think should definitely have happened. But I think you see there is in how WWE could use a character like Eva Marie that isn't really that good in the ring. But sometimes what I think fans need to realize is sometimes it is more about the character than the in-ring performance. It's nice to have a great in-ring performance, but if you have the character there, I think that is a good starting point for someone like an Eva Marie. Thoughts on the Dudley Boys' return to WWE?
Oh, we've spoken
Go on,
about
MJ.
this.
We spoke about this before.
We have, and I'm going to keep saying the exact same thing because there's no real signs of the Dudleys being a huge impact on their return. Because right now, yes, they've got the Wyatt feud, but to be honest, with the Wyatts losing streak and going against the Dudleys haven't really had a winning streak either. So I think their income was the name that was meant to be the big thing about their return. But since they've been in, they've already faced the most likable tag team. Now they're going against the, let's say, the future tag team. I just don't think they're fulfilling as much as the WWE expected.
I mean, they're obviously there to do jobs, aren't they? Really, I mean, it's been made very obvious. They've jobbed to the New Day numerous times. They've jobbed to the Wyatt family already. They've done many other jobs, I'd imagine. I mean, it's just I understand why they brought them back, but really WWE have to set a bit of a timetable as to what they wanted to do with them, especially in the tag team division where you could definitely use the Dudley Boys even to win the tag team championships at one last time. I don't know. Thoughts on Jeff Jarrett going to be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame? Well, I mean, he was the founder and he was a big part of TNA, and who else are they going to put in the TNA Hall of Fame? Bobby Roode.
As much as I would stick now to the TNA wrestlers instead of a guy who's now running your almost competition, GFW, they're the ones who are in competition with TNA now, and they came in and tried to take over.
Well, they have most of their talent anyway, so they're not
in a way, I would just stick to like you say, Bobby Roode and stuff. People who are on TNA instead of Jeff Jarrett. Yeah, it makes sense, but I think his time of going into TNA Hall of Fame, especially when he's in the competition brand, I just don't think. No.
Well, the whole thing was done because I think Dixie Carter wanted Jeff Jarrett to relinquish his very low % stake in TNA. So I think in return for that, Jeff Jarrett said, well, I want to advertise my new company. I want to be in the Hall of Fame. I want a main event on Slammiversary. And if Dixie Carter thought that was enough to relinquish his 5% stake, I hear, then okay, fine. Just goes to show you how badly run that company is. Yeah. Dan Haynes. Why do WWE keep killing off wrestlers who get over with their own doing? For example, Damien Sandow's stunt double, Zack Ryder's YouTube creation, Cesaro's recent fake turn, Wade Barrett's Nexus story. Yeah, I mean, it is a sad state of affairs. I mean, you've got Vince McMahon saying that wrestlers aren't as ambitious as they used to be. They don't reach for the brass ring, and then you get examples such as Damien Sandow's stunt double turning something. It seems like these wrestlers pretty much have to turn shit into gold. And even if you do turn shit into gold, you're still not going to make it.
Vince, the whole Vince, people not reaching up to the brass ring, Barrett as the leader of the Nexus, going against Cena, fighting for the championship, almost there. He was likable. People were on his side. He was a good heel there. Damien Sandow, yeah, I couldn't really have seen the stunt double going for the main championship. But I think Vince lets people down when they at their hottest. It's just
I don't think WWE. This is a little bit silly, but I don't think WWE likes it when they don't take the platform that WWE has given them and get themselves over that way. Because with Zack Ryder, he got very famous on YouTube. Did WWE use that? Not really. No. They didn't really use that, and they pushed him a little bit, and then they just said, right, and then it's kind of just felt like they said, well, he's had his moment now. Let's just put him into oblivion. But I mean, it is a sad state of affairs.
I just don't see. We've said this numerous times. When you see a wrestler who the W have given a gimmick to that's actually getting hot. Run with it, work with it. Don't suddenly kill off just because fans are seeming to be drawn to that character. It's happened numerous times. I'm sure you can name some more, but the two that's been named here out of the three, I think the WWE are completely stupid for undoing all their work to build them up to be very likable characters.
Jimmy Edapparel. Paul Heyman announced that a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view would be Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker inside Hell in a Cell. What are your reactions? Well, that's a bit late. I think my initial reactions were as that drops. I think my initial reactions were why
Ratings.
Why? I mean, obviously it was done
Ratings.
to try and get the ratings and to try and get people to buy what is essentially a B show. But my initial reaction to it was desperation and why.
But when it comes to Hell in a Cell, yes, I think Paul Heyman being involved in it because obviously he had the hottest client at the time, you know, the guy who should be in a Hell in a Cell, Taker, who it looks like they're putting so much effort on the Undertaker now because I think it should happen is his last run. So to put the hottest guy and the guy who's or should be on his way out in Hell in a Cell, Paul Heyman to do some advertising or speaking about it, it was just set right for that match.
What are your thoughts on Masked Kane's return at Night of Champions? Why? How many times is he going to return with the mask, and how many times is he going to return with the mask, get a huge pop, be booked strong for a bit, and then just be a jobber again?
This is sad because I've been speaking about this in a few of my hangouts that I've been doing. Kane is not really considered as he was when we first started this channel as one of my favourite wrestlers anymore. And that's not his fault. It's the WWE who have him the way that fans want him to be and the way he should be. Then you try and change it, which is always good for some wrestlers because they need a change to keep them going, keep them spied. But not with Kane. You've done so many changes with him. And the mask is not too important. You could have kept it off and still had a Monster Kane. But so much has been done to him. So for him to come back with his mask, this can be the exact same answer I said about Undertaker. This should be for one of his major last runs.
Which superstars or legends would you like to see heel or face?
Bray Wyatt as a face. The fans love him.
I'm not sure exactly what you mean by this question. But if you're saying would we like to see people turn heel or turn face, then Bray Wyatt wouldn't be a bad shout. I think a lot of people want to see Roman Reigns turn heel.
I think the most obvious one.
Not sure why he should, but
Cena heel,
people seem to want to see him turn heel.
Yes.
Cena would be another one a lot of people would want to see heel, even though I don't think it would change anything to do with the Cena character. He would still be on top. He would still be shoved down your throats. Any other, I mean... I don't really know of any others. I mean, I don't watch the product that much anymore, so I'm a bit stumped.
I've got a question mark on, like, I think Kevin Owens should stay heel, even though fans love him, but he should be staying as a heel. There's not many other character changes that I think are needed right now. You could name a few divas, but I just don't.
Robert Hernandez, who is the greatest wrestler of all time?
Triple H.
It depends what you mean by greatest wrestler of all time. Do you mean the biggest money drawer of all time? Do you mean the best performer in the ring? I mean, the biggest money drawer of all time would either be Hogan or Austin. I think the most complete wrestler was The Rock. I think he had everything. I think the best wrestler and the best performer of all time would be Shawn Michaels. I think the best character of all time is The Undertaker in terms of longevity. So it really depends what you mean by greatest wrestler of all time. I mean, as a complete package, I would say The Rock, and he's gone on, you've seen what he's gone on to do in the movie business and, be a massive star like he is. Do you have any others that you can consider greatest wrestler of all time, like maybe like a Ric Flair or something?
I'm going to stick with my answer, even though there was that whole Hall of Fame little joke between Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I'm going to say Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. RFV089. Mr. Parkin, do you think England can win Euros? No. No, there's no way we can win the Euros. I mean, the only way we can win the Euros is if we get incredibly lucky. But I don't think we have a squad. We have a talented squad, don't get me wrong. But I don't think we're good enough to win the Euros at all. I think we'd do well if we get to the quarterfinals. That's all I'll say about that. How much wrestling do you watch per week? Me, none. I don't watch wrestling, but I do listen to a lot of wrestling YouTube videos and podcasts, which probably accumulates maybe 10 hours a week of my time, just from listening to them in bed and listening to them at work and stuff like that. So while I'm not watching wrestling, I'm still listening to what a lot of people think about wrestling. I also make sure to watch when you're on those Raw Rundowns with OKayfabe. I do quite enjoy those. So I'm not watching the product, but I kind of know what's going on. I do keep up to date with it because that's not something I can really get away from.
With me, thanks to the WWE Network, which you can get for $9.99 in some places and more in others. But I watch the old school. I've said this before, the old school Raws, the old pay-per-views. I'm still loving that. As for the current stuff, yes, it's the Raws sometimes, even though I don't care if I miss a week, 2 weeks, 3. But and then NXT I've started to watch more because of how much people were raving about it, the old reviews we had here. So I say I watch a lot of it, but not really much of the current.
Thoughts on Sting losing a Night of Champions and WWE doing an NXT special in London? Sting losing a Night of Champions, I'm not overly surprised. I couldn't see WWE putting the belt on Sting. The only way I could have seen that happening was if they put it on Sting and then had Sheamus cash in. That's the only way I'd have seen that happening at the time. So no real surprise. I mean, it is a little bit disappointing that he's come into WWE and lost to Triple H and lost to Seth Rollins. I mean, that is a little bit disappointing. And now he's injured, and it looks like a long-term injury, so he probably won't wrestle another match. So he won't even be able to get his first win in WWE if you don't count that match on Raw against Big Show that turned into a tag team match, I believe. So I wasn't too surprised that Sting losing, and I wasn't too disappointed either, really.
With this match against Seth Rollins, even though it was obviously to put Seth Rollins over another guy who he's defeated to be built up. Yes, he got injured, but I think there's a pattern going there. A part of me would have had Sting win and probably held on to it all the way till WrestleMania, because that's when we could have had that loved match with The Undertaker. You know, a bit of dream thinking there, but but at the same time, I think bringing in star power should always be, at the end of the day, to put over other talent.
And what about WWE doing an NXT special in London? It's about time they did something big in London. I mean, I know NXT isn't like massive like Raw or SmackDown or a WWE pay-per-view, but it's still nice to see that, especially with NXT, which is more catered towards hardcore fans, in my opinion. You get a lot of those in London. You get a lot of those in the UK. Whenever WWE comes over to the UK, the crowds always go mental. Like, they're all very smart crowds, and that's probably a lot of the reasons why a lot of UK fans used to tune into TNA. But I think having an NXT special in London is a great thing. I mean, I won't be going to it or anything, but it's nice that they're actually giving London something.
I think even though we do get Raw and SmackDown, to give us NXT, the future, to get us behind that, to give us a show that's getting a lot of praise, I think it's a really good thing. And say it's a special NXT, I think it gives us something, because we don't get the pay-per-views.
No, and I do wonder what they're going to do with the tape delay. Are they going to have it live?
Live. Come on.
They're going to have it live? Are they going to have it on tape delay? Or it really will be interesting to see what they do there. Anyway, that's it for another Q&A. Make sure you tune in next week, same time next week, for Q&A number, I believe it's 237. I don't know, I can't remember now, I've lost count. But anyway, until then, we're going to leave you with NJ.
Thank you very much, people. This is the best video you'll catch Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, together in, which is the video that I want you to continue to support, love, by sending your questions in the comment section below, so we can keep going on and on and on, entertaining you, and that way you get to hear Mr. Parkin's views, which you don't hear anymore because he doesn't like wrestling anymore. So it all comes down to this one video. Thank you very much for watching, people. Thank you very much for the support. And until next time, goodbye. Wow, that was a mouthful.
Yeah, maybe people should start asking me a couple of less wrestling questions, because I don't like wrestling that much.
Less football.
And more football questions.